Hello and welcome to In the Grandstand. I'm your host Jim Kimberley, and joining me today is Gareth Winslade. But most importantly, we are in the grandstand with a F2 race winner and the F3 Asian champion, Guanyu Zhou. Well, Guanyu, tell us all about your F3 Asia victory.
Yeah, actually, it was a pretty great experience. I won my first ever championship as a single seater, so it was quite a memorable 4 weeks in Mid East. Wasn't an easy one. Wasn't something you go back to. You can get used to everything. All the stuff are new to me. The car, engine, driving stuff. I have to adapt quite quickly. And this year, the Asian F3 was definitely one of the most experienced drivers, also the most talented drivers ever into the series. So we have, few F2 rivals, F3 good drivers, and also the runner-up in Formula Regional, Formula Renault. So they are more used to the car than us.
Yeah, it's a dramatic start for the year for you, but before that, you were doing F3 properly, you were doing F4, karting, the traditional route. Was Formula One ever a distinct possibility? Did you genuinely believe that you would make it?
Yeah, so where I started obviously was back to my home, which is in Shanghai, China. And so as a kid, I started actually in the indoor kart track. It's more like for fun. So first time tried it, absolutely loved it. And I was going to school and always at the weekend going there to having fun. And then we started more like a professional racing career. So we start buy our own cars, try to race in the China Championship, and after that won this championship. So I actually moved to UK. So because I think that's one of the home of motorsports and where you have compete with all the best drivers. So then we are literally following the ladder of the reaching Formula One. So going from F4, F3, and then now in F2. So definitely I didn't think I will be ever that close to be putting my leg or my hand into that F1.
You are now part of the Alpine Academy. Before that, you were part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. Tell us all about the differences between the two of them. What sort of stuff changes day to day for you?
Yeah, so once in Italy, once UK. That's the thing. So food are different, people are different, the way they react. But yeah, in general, I mean the program is quite similar. I mean both are the professional Formula One race team, had quite a large history behind them, and basically it's more like obviously one I have to base more time in Maranello, which was the home of Ferrari, and now I'm staying actually at my home in UK. And Renault based in Enstone, so it's not far from my home. And apart from that, I think both manufacturers proving us a lot of things that we can be working a lot as a young drivers. And definitely, especially when I was in Ferrari, I was in the starting part of my single seater career, which I can learn a little bit more basic things. And now with Renault Alpine is more I get more definitely opportunities in Formula One, which is definitely closer to my long-term goal.
Joe, 2019, your first F2 season, you were the Rookie of the Year, certainly one of the most exciting new talents on the grid that year. And then last year, you stuck with Virtuosi again. This would be your third year with them, and you finally got that breakthrough win, which everyone had been looking forward to you getting. This is your third season, and you probably will be expected to be a title contender for it. Does that make it more stressful for you?
Actually, it's this year coming to 2021. It's a lot more. I think pressure is a little bit more off on the shoulders than last year, because to be honest, last year my goal was to be a title contender already. But one thing is quite important, which is taking a lot of pressure off, is that super license points. As we mentioned that I won the Asian F3 championship, which means that I have now 38 points of super license, which I'm 100% sure end of the year I will get that super license once. So it's definitely one of the most important things.
Did you have any feedback from Renault or Alpine as it is now from the year? Were they happy and satisfied with you carrying on for another year? Did they have any sort of ways to take it forward from you? Any criticisms or feedback?
Target right now, the short plan target is to do well in F2, and definitely this year already we're planning much more F1 stuff than the previous 2 years, which gave me even more experience into it, and I can be testing lots more or doing a lot more simulator work for the team as well as a test driver. So hopefully all that can get me more prepared for the next coming season. Hopefully, I can be in Formula One.
You've spent a lot of time in the car now, but obviously you now have those new hard tyres for this year, which we've heard a lot of drivers are struggling to get on top of. From your side, what's the feeling in the car, the differences with the new tyres? Is it going to be much of an impact on the season, do you think?
Definitely. The only good thing is I think there's only 2 races we're using these hards, so that's the good thing. I think one's obviously Bahrain and another one's Silverstone, which is great news because they are not great. We tested; they are a little bit, they try to make the tire last longer, which make the compound harder, and by testing them, it actually made the long distance races more dead, because you're actually not using the tire properly. So you're sliding around, you're going off on lap times, but coming to the box, the tires still have a lot of tire wear left on them, a lot of rubber left on them, but you just really sliding on the surface.
Who do you see as your main rivals for the title this year?
I think first, is the experienced one from the last year. So one is Christian Longard and another one is Robert Schwartzman, and also I think my teammate will be doing well as well, Philip Jovovich. And apart from that, I think there's a few, good rookies coming up. So you have Viv's already done this, and then you have, I think, both karting drivers. The karting car seems to be quick, especially at Bahrain. And then, there's Oscar coming up from a champion F3. So there's quite a good, driver lineup. Like you said, a 10-way fight, but on the other hand, with the new Formula 2 format for the race weekend, could make this even closer than ever.
Yeah, well, we'll jump ahead then, because I did definitely want to ask you about the format. So we'll ask the question now: do you like the new format, or would you prefer to stay with the old feature race and sprint race format?
To be honest, I like the old ones, but you never know. It's a new thing. It's like the Halo. When the first time come up, nobody likes it, but now everybody loves it, and that's the save people's life. But I think the new format could make the championship even more close, and there will be definitely more people scoring good points.
One of the benefits you've got being in the Alpine Academy, previously the Renault Sport Academy, is you get a lot of time in the Formula One car. How is it when you jump back in? Is it just like riding a bike?
To be honest, the first time I jumped into it, I got really surprised about the downforce level F1 car can generate into the corner. So the first time was in Puerto Rico 2019. Actually, these corners F2 might be little lift. F1 is easily flat, and it's not quite surprised. Also the acceleration, you pulled from your neck, so the neck was definitely sore after day one. And apart from that, I'm a little bit more used to it after the many days in the past 2 years in Formula One car. But definitely there's quite a lot adapting.
A certain Mr. Ricciardo decided to leave the Renault family around this time last year. Your eyes must have lit up, and then a certain 2-time Formula One champion decides to return and rain on your parade. But were there any serious discussions about you making the step up for 2021 to join Formula One?
To be honest, I wasn't too upset or disappointed by anything, because firstly, that obviously during the year of 2020, that I wasn't sure that I would have the super license. So I wouldn't know until the last round, and obviously when they make this decision, Cyril also called me to tell me that, which was really really nice of him. And I understand F1 team, you can't always wait for the last round to be deciding if you can get into F1, and definitely I think bringing Alonso is going to help the team. He was my previous idol when first time looking at the races, and until Daniel joined. So it was nice to be working with both idols, and that's something I definitely never expected.
You get a lot of opportunities to drive the 2-year-old Formula One car, but how do you find out about them? Is it something you get an email, or is it something that's brought to you to say, if you do well, you'll get a chance to drive the car? Is it like a carrot on a stick?
Yeah, that was actually always on the plan, when I moved from Ferrari Academy to Alpine. So the plan was they will be including more, F1 stuff, which is definitely, one of the biggest reasons I moved, and you can ever close to your dream and to having, I think there's only a few teams actually can have a 2 years car or have this sort of program. I think it's us and Mercedes and someone else, and definitely, you have a lot of benefits. I know it's a 2 years car, but actually the steering wheel, everything is quite similar, and you can understand a little bit more the way people works, or all these switches you have to play around with it. Obviously, in the simulator at the factory you can always do it, but reality is always a little bit more trickier because you don't have that much time to think.
The calendar's so spread out this year because you're only doing those 8 weekends. So there's months between races this year. So how are you expecting to spend that time? And on the back of that, are there any tracks you were going to miss this year?
Actually, yeah. Firstly, definitely you have more times, especially after 2020, that you have triple headers this year, give a little bit more breaks, and also in the same time, I think I think we have 4 kind of straight circuit as well, and I'm definitely going to miss. I think one of the track I'll miss quite a lot is going to be what's the track now? Red Bull Ring, because that's the one I got pole last year, and I think the team have a good package there. With these short weekends, keep us more time to be with back in the factory, helping the simulator development, and also to be doing a little bit more on the gym, and also at the same time some 2 years old F1 car testing. 2
years as a Renault Sport Academy driver and now Alpine. How have things changed for you and with the relaunch of the academy? How did you find it?
New colors. To be honest, I like the blue, especially it's a light blue with matte. And apart from that, I think not much changed. Obviously, we have the David instead of Zero now looking after the team. And actually, it was a great opportunity that I was out in Formula 3 Asian Championship. David was actually, one of his base was in Dubai, so he actually came save me before actually he went to the factory. So we had a good chat together. So I knew him already before actually, coming back to UK. So it was. I think things can be changed a little bit, but in my side, in the academy side, everything we have the same members, same people. We have Mia as well. Nothing really changed, so it's quite similar.
Well, our time is almost up, so I'm going to ask this last question, and I would generally ask, who do you think is going to win the Formula 2 Championship? And you'll say, I will. So instead, I'm going to ask, who do you think is going to win the Formula 1 Championship for this year?
Well, hopefully not the same driver, but just for the fans. I think he will win it again. Everyone knows who he is.
You meant to toe the company line and say Fernando Alonso or Esteban Ocon, but appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. The facts, I mean.
That's great. Well, our time is now up, so we want to say thank you for joining us in the grandstand, and we want to wish you well for the rest of your 2021, and hopefully we can speak to you again later in the season.
Thanks.